If you couldn't guess, yesterday we are actually in the factoring for this. So I am taking this time to review the perfect square trinomials and the difference between two squares before I jump into a review of factoring from me. I gave you guys a review of factoring about 2 weeks ago from somebody else, but I wanted to actually give you guys one last review from me before it is our final test. So these may start looking a little different next week when I start going back over some things that maybe more specific in chapter jumping some, but for right now I'm reviewing chapter 7. So here we have perfect square trinomials. So perfect square trinomials look like this. So you have the a minus b squared, and it ends up being a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, I also put the one with the plus. Notice the only thing that changes here is plus goes to plus, minus goes with minus. So what does all this mean? I don't know. Well, here's what we do. To check and see if it's a perfect square trinomial, we're going to take the square root of the first term, and we're going to take the square root of the second term, okay? Square root of that is x, and square root of that is 4. If I do 2 times 4 times x, I need it to equal my center term. And guess what? It does. So what I can say for this is it's a perfect square trinomial. Now I'm going to look here. I'm going to say, oh, it's negative, so I can write this as x minus 4 squared. I took a lot of space to write that, and I didn't need to, but I just want to show you how easy that is. So these two are perfect squares, so that's how we know there is a chance this could be a perfect square trinomial. Multiply those two together, multiply it by 2. If they match, it's a perfect square. Take this symbol, put it between the two squares. Good to go. So let's check this. So square root of 9x squared and square root of 25y squared. This is going to be 3x, and this is going to be 5y. Again, we're going to do 2 times 3x times 5y. 2 times 3 is 6, times 5 is 30xy. Does this match this? No, it does not. So it is not a perfect square trinomial. Okay, so this one ends up not being one. Why, you ask? Well, this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square. The reason why is the center term will not line up ever. So if I split this up and I do 3x, it's positive, plus 5y. If I do that and I square it, when I multiply everything up, my center term is going to be 30xy, which does not match. So that doesn't match. Okay, so for our next two, I'm going to tell you this, they are perfect square trinomials. I just wanted to throw one in and see what you thought. So I'm going to take square root of x squared, square root of 49, and I get x, and I get 7. We can double check this by saying 7x times 2 is 14. I'm going to look and see that it has a minus there, and I'm going to put x, 7 squared minus. See, that's how these are meant to go. They're meant to be very, very quick and say, okay, cool, 2 times 7 is 14. Oh, and it has the variable. It's negative. Perfect. Exactly. Perfect square. So we're going to do this down here. Square root of 25x squared and square root of 4. So I've got 5x and I've got 2. We're going to double check that. 5x times 2 is 10x. 10x times 5x times 2 is 10x. 10x times 2 gives me 20x. So I know this is 5x and a 2 and a squared. I'm going to look at that, say it's negative, and there we have it. Perfect square trinomials. It's a shortcut so that you can kind of see how to check and how to quickly factor for a lot of things. So be aware you will have a couple of these show up, and if you're not good at factoring, this will help out a lot with shortcuts and figuring out how to quickly factor.